It's been a long time, but I'm finally bringing back the Pokemon VGC content. This time it's for Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. And if you want to see more Pokemon BDSP guides and videos, subscribe so you don't miss out. Or if you want to see any of my other Pokemon content, I also do Pokemon Unite. For this video, we'll do Infernape, which is my favorite Pokemon of Sinnoh, so let's just get into it. So Infernape is firefighting, which is a really good typing because you're super effective against a ton of different typings, but you only have 4 weaknesses, which are Flying, Ground, Water, and Psychic. However, you have 6 resistances, which is actually really good. So overall, it's a good typing, but Infernape's defensive stats aren't the greatest. It has below average HP and defensive stats, which means Infernape can get one-shotted by a lot of different things, or it will take a lot of damage by a certain Pokemon. However, its incredible speed and offensive power is what makes this guy so great. Coming in with 108 speed makes this guy quicker than a lot of different Pokemon. It's definitely an above average speed stat. And 104 in both attack, physical attack, and special attack makes this guy very strong. You can make him into a physical attacker or a special attacker, and that also is very threatening to your opponent because when they see Infernape, they won't know what kind of Infernape you're running. They won't know if it's going to be a physical attacker or a special attacker. And with the wide move pool, or maybe quote unquote wide move pool this guy has, it's going to be really hard for your opponent to figure out a game plan to counter Infernape, which is what makes this guy very strong. Its its offensive presence is what makes Infernape very strong. Right, so you want to make sure you can kill them with your high speed and high power before they kill you and take advantage of your low defensive capabilities. So I have 3 builds for you today. The first one, which we're going to talk about right now, is the physical build. So it has max EV in speed and physical attack with the Jolly nature. You really want to take advantage of this guy's speed because you want to make it as fast as possible and also beat out the Infernape mirror matches. The item is Life Orb and the ability is Blaze. Now some of you might be asking about Iron Fist. I don't think it's a good ability for Infernape, mainly because Infernape doesn't have many moves that take advantage of Iron Fist. The only ones are Fire Punch, Thunder Punch, and Power Up Punch. Thunder Punch is good, which is why I put in the alternative moves. However, Fire Punch isn't that good of a move because even with Iron Fist boosting it, it's still doing a lot less damage than Flare Blitz and doing slightly more damage than Blaze Kick. And a lot of the time, you will be on low HP with Infernape because you're either self-inflicting yourself with Flare Blitz recoil damage, or your opponent is just dealing a lot of damage to you because you have low defensive capabilities. So because Blaze is going to have a lot more of an uptime, your Flare Blitz is just going to do a lot more damage. So overall, that's probably the biggest reason why I would go with Blaze over Iron Fist. And another reason is because Power Punch is not that good of a move. How many times are you actually able to increase your attack with Power Punch before your opponent kills you? If you want to run Power Punch, honestly don't, and just run Swords Dance instead. It's just better in my opinion, which I actually do have a Swords Dance build. It's the 3rd build of this video. So the moves we have are Flare Blitz and Close Combat. These are just 2 really strong moves. They're also just really strong stab moves in general for this guy. They're like a must-have in my opinion. U-turn, really good for pivoting, and because of its high speed, it works very well with Infernape. And then Fake Out is also just a really good move to run. The alternative moves are Protect, Earthquake, Rock Slide, Thunder Punch to help you with some matchups, against like water types. Stone Edge, Thunder Punch helps you out with flying and water types, 2 of Infernape's weaknesses. Stone Edge is also a really good move. Or Mach Punch. I only put Mach Punch here as a priority move. Yes, Fake Out is also a priority move, but Fake Out is only a one-time thing, whereas Mach Punch you can spam it whenever you want. The alternative items are Choice Band, which works very well with Infernape because chances are Infernape is going to move first most of the time because of its high speed. So because of that, Choice Band works very well with Infernape, just dealing a ton of damage, or maybe Choice Band U-turn or Choice Band Fake Out if you just want that quick kill. Alright, so the second build is a support / special attack Infernape, and this build in my opinion is a very good build. It's a very viable build because of the amount of supportive capabilities this guy has, and pairing it up with this high speed just makes it hard to counter. Or maybe just not hard to counter, but just hard to deal with, and it's annoying to deal with. So let's just get into it. Max EV in speed and special attack with a timid nature. Item is Citrus Berry and the ability is Blaze. For the move, I went with Will-O-Wisp to cripple physical attackers, Fake Out, Flamethrower, and Grass Knot. I kept Grass Knot here because it's a single move that deals with 2 of Infernape's weaknesses, which are ground and water. Now the alternative moves are Protect, Fire Blast, Heat Wave, and Overheat. All three of these moves here you can replace for Flamethrower, just depends on what you're trying to go for, so pick which one is best for you. Focus Blast is here in the alternative section and not in the main section because of that 70% accuracy. I know Stab Focus Blast deals so much damage, but that 70% accuracy is just too scary. It is. I don't want to risk it on Infernape, especially on a squishy Pokemon like Infernape. I'm not going to take the risk, so I just kept it in the alternative section. Solar Beam is here to replace Grass Knot, but I would only recommend Solar Beam if you're running Infernape in a sunny day team. In fact, Torkoal and Venusaur are in the game, which is scary because G-Max Venusaur and Torkoal was a menace in Sword and Shield. Thankfully, we don't have G-Max Venusaur in this game, but I wonder how strong Torkoal and Venusaur are going to be in this game regardless, right? So I just kept Solar Beam here just in case you run Infernape in a sunny day team. I put U-Turn in the alternatives move section because yes, even though we have a negative nature going against physical attack, our physical attack is still at 104, which is good. Which means our U-Turn will still be able to deal somewhat a decent amount of damage. It will deal a pretty good amount of damage against Psychic types, which are super effective against Infernape. And like I mentioned before, Infernape's high speed with U-Turn makes pivoting with this guy just feels so good, and also very hard for your opponent to deal with. Helping Hand is here because it's a good support move. Quick Guard I put in the alternative move section because I don't know how meta priority moves are going to be because it's still very early to determine, which is why I put in the alternative move section. Also, if you don't know what Quick Guard is, basically it protects your team from priority moves, which is a good move. It's also +3, which is the same speed as Fake Out. Fake Out also has +3. So you can potentially block out Fake Outs using Quick Guard. The only way you could do that is if your Quick Guard user is faster than the Fake Out user. And because Infernape has 108 speed, there's a good chance you're probably going to be faster than the person faking you out. Which is why I put Quick Guard in the alternative move section. Stealth Rock is another good move to have. And then Encore as the final as the final alternative move. For the alternative items, I would recommend going with Life Orb if you want just more damage and less support. Choice Specs, again, if you want more damage, less support, or Mental Herb. And the final build of this video is going to be a Swords Dance build. Now, I recommend running this build with a Follow Me user or Fake Out user or someone that can allow Infernape to safely pop off Swords Dance, because you don't want to activate Swords Dance and then immediately die right after or take severe damage, because that can definitely mess up your whole game plan or mess up your game in general. So the EV spread is max EV in speed and physical attack with a Jolly Nature, item is Life Orb, and ability is Blaze. The moves are Swords Dance, Close Combat, Protect, and Earthquake. Now you may have noticed that there are no fire moves for this build, and that's because I think Close Combat is more than enough as a stab move. Flare Blitz, I wouldn't recommend it because I wouldn't want to build myself up using Swords Dance and then to kill myself later on using the recoil damage from Flare Blitz, because that would just annoy the shit out of me. Blaze Kick and Fire Punch are nowhere near as good as Close Combat, and because of that, I think Close Combat is just much better to run as your only stab move. Protect is also mandatory for this build because your opponent's definitely going to find chances and opportunities to kill you because they don't want your Swords Dance shenanigans throwing their game off. So whenever they get the opportunity, they will try to go for the kill. So having that Protect would definitely prevent that from happening. Also, Fake Outs are also could be annoying, so having Protect would also, prevent Fake Outs. Earthquake, in my opinion, is mandatory or close to mandatory for this build because turn 1 is the setup phase where you're not dealing damage to your opponent. Right? You set up with Swords Dance, and then turn 2 is when you go balls to the walls with this man's damage. Infernape having the 2 attack stages from Swords Dance with Life Orb is so much damage, and Earthquake is going to potentially kill both of your opponent's Pokemon, if not severely injure them, which puts the momentum in your favor. And because Infernape has the high speed, chances are this guy is going to move first. So it's a very, very strong move for this. Earthquake is a very strong move for this specific moveset build. If you want, you could replace Earthquake with Rock Slide, if you're worried about Earthquake injuring your own teammates. However, Rock Slide does have the 90% accuracy, which I'm not like a big fan of. But it does have the 30% chance to flinch. So if you're lucky, it's a good thing. But you know, chances are you might actually kill the opponent with Rock Slide or with Earthquake, so you don't really need that flinch anyways. In fact, now that I think about it, a good Pokemon that works well with this Infernape is Togekiss, right? Togekiss has the Follow Me, and it's a flying type Pokemon, so you can spam, you know, turn 1 you can do Follow Me, Togekiss, and Swords Dance Infernape. Turn 2, you can just spam Earthquake, and Togekiss doesn't have to worry about it because she's flying, so she's immune to it, right? So that's a really strong duo right there. The alternative items, I put NA, but you could, now that I think about it, you could just give it a Focus Sash. That might also work too. You are losing out on the damage, but Focus Sash at least sort of grants you the survivability. It might be useless, and if both of your opponent's Pokemon attacks Infernape, then Focus Sash is useless. But I prefer Life Orb because, you know, if you're running Swords Dance, you're going for damage, and you know, if that's your whole goal, is just to deal as much damage as you can, Life Orb is going to help you with that. And that's my Infernape guide for Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. I have a lot more Pokemon guides and movesets coming out very soon. I have one for Empoleon, Torterra, Staraptor, Luxray, Lucario, all the new Pokemon, all the Gen 4 Pokemon, and a bunch of other Pokemon. If you want to see all that, then subscribe so you don't miss out. Thanks for watching, and peace.